I hope that in all of this world, everything you touch shall crumble to dust. The poet's voice rattled in the harsh wind. You may think that you have victory on your side, but your flags... He paused and pointed at the hordes of men below him. Your banners will not always flutter on the side of the one who is the winner. If you have any goodness in you, though I doubt it, if you have any goodness in your heart, then you will not survive all of the true-born Welshmen who will curse you. It will not protect you from the sting of all of our tears. The one who was known as Edward I, new-crowned son of King Henry III, was riding at the front of the long snake of his tired men as they tried to keep their footing and their saddles on the steep slopes of Snowdon. Their arms and their chainmail suits glistened wet in the dying rays of the sun. It was not as if this was the first time that they had been to this place. 2 campaigns had gone on before, and Edward wanted an end to this war with the rebellious Welsh. The king was not alone in all of his finery. By his side were 2 of his finest men and most loyal servants. His son-in-law, Gloucester, could not believe that the last of all of the Welsh bards was giving such a passionate speech, even though he was outnumbered and had no chance of escape. It had taken all words from his lips. Edmund de Mortimer was not struck dumb. He did not hesitate for a heartbeat. To arms and be done with them all! To arms and be done with them all! His voice echoed the thoughts of the weary king, and he was pleased to see his friend wanted to defend his lands from his neighbours, the Welsh, and protect the sovereignty of his king throughout the whole of the British Isles. The place that the bard had chosen to take his defiant stand appeared like the brow of a worried man as he would scowl out over the foaming River Conway. He was clothed in the traditional clothes of the ancient poets, and the howling, ceaseless wind pulled at his long white beard and blustered his curled, snow-white hair about his head. With his haggard eyes and restless stance, he looked like a bright, angry meteor against the gaunt black of the rock. Even in the throes of the terrifying wind, the bard still reached for his harp and plucked at the strings in the skilful way that he had done since being a child, and the sorrowful notes rang through the clear air. With the low and sad tones of the harp, the poet began again. You! His finger was pointed and his eyes blazed with anger. You, Edward, that like my Lord Llewellyn, I will never bow to as my true king. You chased them, you had them run out until there was no escape, except the sharp and jagged rocks of these mountains. Their bodies lie on dreary Arvon shore, and I will tell you that the ravens are frightened of them. The eagles, even though they have hunger in their bellies, they will not come near them. I can see them. Every day I can see them. Their bodies covered with gore and blood, deathly pale and without life. They were my friends, my companions, my fellow bards who knew what it was to make magic with words. They died for what they believed in. I do not say that they have gone, for I can still see their broken bodies. The wind blows their bloodied hands as they sit together on the spattered rocks, proud for what they have done to protect the name of Cambria. All of the while, Edward and his men came ever closer, closer on the steep and treacherous paths on the side of the huge mountain. An army against a single man whose belief in his country made him stronger than all of their arms and lances. You may think that you can beat me, just one frail man, but together with all of my companions we sing a terrible song, and their lifeless lips will make a curse upon you and your family for what you have done, for what you have done. He rested for a moment to compose a curse that would make sure that the bloodline of Edward would not survive. If the shroud of Edward and all of his family could be woven now, it would be too late to save all that will come to his family. I would wish that those demons of hell would visit all of his ancestors, and they would know the way to find them by the evil that they have done. Someday soon, the Severn Valley will echo to the shrieks of a painful death to a savage king. He was not to be stopped. I hope that the war with France shall leave him like a corpse that is devoured by his own wife. Spittle was forming at the edge of the bard's lips as the venom that's poured from his mouth affected his thoughts and his body. You deserve nothing but a terrible, lonely fate at the hands and teeth of the hosts of those who have been refused entry to heaven. You! His tone was mocking. You, a mighty victor. You, a mighty lord. You do not deserve pity or even a tear for what will happen to you. You will have no friend, even when you wish to mourn those that you lose with your obsequies. Famine, havoc shall rain down upon you, and you shall know loneliness and retribution for all that you have done, Longshanks. You truly are the bore of this world, and I am glad that your French wife died. I am glad that you live in your towers of London, surrounded by blood and your loveless life, and the bodies of those that you have killed. The bard turned to face towards his grisly, dead companions on the rocks below. Now, my brothers, let us take to the loom to weave a winding cloth for this king, for this king. His words rang through the valley as he cursed the king and looked at the bodies of his long dead friends. His work was done. He found that the bright light of the sun blinded him, and he could not see their bodies in the glare of its rays. I cannot see you, my brothers, and I do not wish to be left here alone. He turned his pleading eyes to heaven. Once we all thought that King Arthur would return and be the true-born king of us all. We had all believed this, that we would be saved from the ruling of foreign kings, but I see that there is. His eyes became clouded, and the bright azure blue clearing of the sky as the sun for a moment burst through the storm. I can see how sweet Britannia will be the true queen of us all. She is fair of form and sweet of grace. There is music once more in the air of these hills. Her voice is so sweet, she will return. In the vision that surrounded him, he allowed himself to feel happiness in his heart and a hope for the future of those that would follow. He turned one last time towards his ever-closing pursuers. There is a choir of mighty angels in the air. Bright Phoebus's sunny golden glow will warm the nation, and... He stumbled wearily on his perch on the mountainside. I have a joy in my heart as I can see all that will happen to us. The victory in this battle will be mine. I am the last of all of the bards. You have taken the lives of my brothers and spilled their blood upon the rocks and shores of our great country. You have had to build a ring of castles to keep this kingdom. We have had nothing but words as our shield and armour. Although I am the last, I shall triumph, as I will never be forgot. You shall die in despair, burdened by the weight of ruling a country where you shall never be regarded as a king." There was a look upon his face that took away the lines of age, and he looked as he would have looked when he was a child and his land knew freedom. "I have nothing but joy in my soul as I see that my fate is to die for my country." Like a high-born eagle, he fell from his place, high above the sea of eyes of Edward's army. Each soul that watched this spectacle, they were fascinated by his journey through the storm-filled air. They saw his body, but not his memory, fall into the roaring tide of the river and be gone into endless night.